This episode was probably one of my favorites, just in the whole series. This episode, there were a bunch of different people in groups. There was the Carl Negan whole thing, which was awesome. There was Rick and Aaron. There was the Rosita and Eugene, the Spencer and Gabriel, all that. So I'm going to talk about each one of those things and what they did and why I thought of it. So Rick and Aaron were out for a run collecting for Negan. Apparently, they were out there overnight. Woke up in the morning and were like, okay, we need to get stuff for Negan. So they do. They go. At the end of the episode, they find a like pond or river or something full of walkers with a boat in the middle, which hopefully has supplies in there. So they're gonna need to swim out and get that. Hopefully there's supplies in there, and it's not just a wasted trip and to nothing. Hopefully, I don't know. Then we have Michonne, who block a path for cars with walkers, and then took one of the saviors, not really hostage, but like had a gun to her head, and said, "Take me to Negan." So that's gonna be a thing that happens. Even though if she doesn't end up taking her to the sanctuary, then Negan won't be there because Negan's in Alexandria. So if Michonne just went home to Alexandria, then maybe things would have worked out different, and she wouldn't have to go to the sanctuary. She would have just seen Negan there and killed him or tried to, because Negan won't die easily. Then we have Gabriel and Spencer. Spencer's just being his asshole self and talking shit like, oh, it's Rick's fault, oh, someone else should be leader. Probably thinking himself, but just because your mom was leader doesn't mean you should be. Because let's be honest, you'd probably end up dying instantly. Hopefully you'll die soon, who knows. And then Gabriel, who every time he's in an episode this season is hilarious, calls him a tremendous shit. Which is true and hilarious at the same time. I don't know what it is about Gabriel this season, but he's just become so much more funnier. Because when he was in episode 4, Negan called him creepy ass as shit with his collar and all that, and that was hilarious. And now calling Spencer a tremendous shit, which he is, it's like every time Gabriel is in an episode, he's gonna say or do something funny or act funny in a way, which is awesome. So I'm really starting to like Gabriel. His character is growing on me, so I'm excited to see more of him. Then we have Rosita and Eugene. Rosita is still pissed at Negan and Spencer about everything. Pissed at Negan for killing Abraham and Glenn, and pissed at Spencer for hiding guns and lying to her about it. So her and Eugene go to make bullets, and when she's there, Eugene tries to stop her, and she definitely lets her rage out. She ends up calling Eugene, like, weak, pathetic, and worthless, and, like, you're only here because people feel sorry for you, and all that. And I know in reality she doesn't really mean it, because she obviously cares about Eugene, because they've been together for so long. But that's how she's dealing with Abraham's death. It's not the best way to deal with it, but it's her own way. Hopefully, over time, she will get over it, and will learn to accept it and maybe not be so rage-inducing. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm glad that she's trying to, like, fight and all, but, I mean, I think she should pick her battles, because Negan ain't someone who you can just shoot in the head and kill and die. He will not go down without a fight, without a war. If you know what I mean. Then, we have the Carl and Negan part, which was the basis of the whole episode, which was awesome. Carl and Jesus in the back of their truck, and Jesus is like, come on, we'll sneak out. And Carl's like, okay, show me how to do it. Jesus rolls out and gets behind the car or whatever, and Carl just like waves by and keeps going, tricking Jesus, which was awesome. And then he gets to the sanctuary and starts shooting people, and Negan's there, and it's awesome. Negan shows Carl around, shows him how pretty much Negan is like a king and like a leader and is in charge, and everyone respects him or is scared to not respect him. Regardless, he even shows him his wives, and Daryl he sees, and Daryl's pissed because in episode 4 when we saw Daryl, he didn't speak at all. He didn't say anything. He didn't do anything. Well, he was there. He did stuff, but I mean, he was pretty much like Negan's lapdog the whole time. So the fact that he said, "What is he doing here?" and like actually spoke out, came flat out and said, "What are you doing with him? Why is he here?" And then Negan takes Carl to his living room, or I think that's the living room or whatever, and tells him to take off his iPad, and he does, and yes. So as being a fan from the comics, this was something I was looking forward to, and I wasn't all cheering about it because it was a sad moment, and because Carl takes off his eye patch or eye wrap bandage thing, and that's the first time we've seen it since it got shot out in the mid-season premiere of season 6. So it was almost a full season since we last saw it. And then Negan, he does start to make fun of him for it and says that's creepy and like it's weird and all that. Which, I mean, don't get me wrong, I still love Negan's character. It's amazing, it's awesome, he's a badass, all that. But like he does really not really judges, but like makes fun of people's appearances, which I think is actually the nicest thing in the world. It's especially to like someone who has one eye and can't change that, and that's going to be him for the rest of his life. Because later he makes a fat joke about Olivia, or like implies it, but I feel like insulting someone's eye, which is something you can't fix, is definitely a lot more like painful to like hear. So I wasn't exactly happy watching that scene. I mean, I was excited for it, yeah, because it was awesome. But just seeing the whole like Carl starting to cry, and Negan did feel bad after he did start to cry because he realized that he like fucked up and was like, "Oh shit, I shouldn't have said that." So I feel like once Negan realizes he makes a mistake, he does apologize for it, and he's sincere about it. He's not like bullshitting and "Oh, I'm sorry," and just like pretending to be. He was genuinely sincere and like genuinely meant everything he was saying. And then I think Mark's the name gets ironed in the face, and just seeing that, I feel like because that's what happened to Dwight, but we didn't see it happen to Dwight. We saw the before and after, so we saw him with his face all normal, and then with the burnt. So we actually get to see like the creation of what happened to Dwight is now happening to Mark, and the reason being was because he snuck around with what's her name? I don't want to say Amy. Is Amy her name? I don't fucking know. That girl, his ex spouse, girlfriend, whatever thing, and they were sneaking around and maybe doing stuff. And since she's now married to Negan, that's considered cheating. There definitely should be a price to pay in a way. Maybe not an iron to the face, but that's what Negan does. And then Sherry and Dwight go back to their. I'm not sure if they meet there on purpose or if it just happened to be coincidence twice. They meet at that place and they both start smoking. And Dwight pretty much called her out and is like, "How do you live with yourself? How can you sleep at night knowing you did that?" Because Sherry did. Sherry did end up telling Negan that those who were sneaking around, and Sherry knew what was going to happen. She saw what happened to Dwight. She knew what was going to happen. She still said it. So, in a way, I agree with Dwight. How could she sleep at night? She did a bad thing. She has to live with it. Then, back in Negan's little living room thing, Carl pretty much tells him, "You should kill us because you don't know who you're messing with," and like threatens him. And in a way, Carl's being honestly sincere and it means everything he's saying, that he will kill Negan and they will all kill Negan, and Negan should kill him now if Negan wants to live and all that. So, but at the same time, he doesn't realize that Negan likes someone who's badass and stands up and like has balls. And so Carl saying that to Negan is like, it impresses Negan in a way where he wants to keep Carl around because he wants to see what more he can do. So then Negan decides to drive Carl decides to drive Negan to Alexandria, where they meet Olivia, and that's where he makes his fat joke, and then apologizes for it again in a weird way, and pretty much says, "I'm sorry. Hey, want to go fuck right now? Because I'm gonna be here for a while. May as well do something." And she slaps him, and it makes him want her even more. So Negan likes when people stand up to him. He intimidates people, and he kills them because they're intimidated by him. When people stand up to him, he likes it. With Carl, with Olivia, even with Daryl. When Daryl punched him in the face in the premiere, he took him with him because he liked it. He liked seeing people stand up to him. So I feel like that's something everyone needs to learn about Negan. That if you stand up to him and prove that you're not scared of him, then odds are he will respect you and he will keep you alive. So then Daryl gets locked back in his room, and someone slips a note under the door saying going out with like some sort of weird thing. I don't know what it is. Now at first I thought it was Sherry because normally she'd go there and talk with Daryl. But now I'm thinking about it, I think that could be Jesus. Because we saw him on top of the truck when coming into the sanctuary, but then he disappeared. So maybe he was able to get in and was trying to sneak out Daryl. Then Negan picks up Judith, and he's not going to kill her or anything, and he just like starts like playing with her and all that. And then eventually he's sitting outside with Carl. And then he starts saying, "You're right, I don't see why you and your dad are alive. I could just live here myself." And of course, that's where the episode ends, so we don't know what's going to happen next. Who knows? This episode, like I said before, probably one of my favorites, maybe even in the whole series, really, because this episode was amazing, was well done, it was great, it was everything. It was everything I wanted when I was waiting for this. It was amazing. Next episode is the mid-season finale. Stuff's going to happen. I have an idea based on the comics. I'm not going to say what it is in case you don't read the comics and you don't know what it is. But if you do, I'm pretty sure we had the same idea of what's going to happen. So, yeah. So, until Sunday.